Hi, this is Savannah Blaylock. My lesson plan book topic is The Art of Miss Chu by Patricia Polacco. The author is, like I said, Patricia Polacco, and she is one famous writer and illustrator. As a young student, Patricia Polacco struggled to read. She didn't learn to read until she was about the age of 14. She had a wonderful teacher who helped her discover that she was dyslexic. And once it was identified, she was able to receive the help she needed and learned to read. But at the age of 41 is when she only started to write her stories. Quoted from her is, all of her stories come from the same place as you, my imagination. Polacco, like I said, she illustrates her own books. The story, The Art of Miss Chu, is about a girl named Patricia who fell in love with art in the summer that she spent with her grandmother. Her school only offered art 30 minutes one day a week, and it was only a limited supply of products. Patricia also struggled with reading, and because of that, she would get sick on test days. She was never able to pass a test. Her teacher, Mr. Donovan, Patricia's teacher, allotted her extra time to take the test. Mr. Donovan also introduced her to Miss Chu. Miss Chu was head of the high school art department, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays, she had a special art program that was for kids, and Mr. Donovan helped Patricia get into those. She loved the class, and throughout the book, we learn about how she overcomes many obstacles to stay in the class, and we talk about the end result. I do have a favorite part of the book, and I'm going to read it to you now. It's 3 pages, so just bear with me. I'm not going to be able to read the whole book because it is kind of long. The part I'm choosing to read from starts at the middle of the book. She has just had a terrible day. Mr. Donovan, her original teacher, is away. He went back to his hometown because his father had just passed away. So she has a sub. And the sub did not allow her extra time to take the test, so it completely overwhelmed her, made her sick, and she failed the test. So now it's a Tuesday or a Thursday, and she's going into her art class with Miss Chu. "No wonder your reading takes you so much time," Miss Chu said. I smiled, but I still wasn't quite sure what she meant. "I know someone I can help. A reading specialist. No one is taking you from this class." I sprang to my feet and hugged her. "And tomorrow, Theresa, I'm assigning you an easel. You are not only ready for painting, maybe you can be a part of the high school spring art show." The following day, Miss Spalding announced we would take a timed citywide test that would determine what classes we would take next year. We'd have 45 minutes to finish. I only finished half the test. I knew my art class was over, but when I told Miss Chu, she said, "We'll just see about that." With my mom's permission, she would take me herself to see her friend, the reading specialist. After class, Miss Chu took me in her car, a convertible. As we drove off, the car sounded like it was growling, and I loved it when we drove by the school and Miss Spalding actually saw us. Dr. McClare played what seemed like 100 reading games with me, but I wasn't afraid. I knew he was trying to help. When he finally called Miss Chu in, he said, "You're spot on, Miss Chu. She reads patterns, not words. This takes time." Miss Chu wanted a meeting of all the players. Everyone came: the principal, Miss Spalding, Miss Chu, Dr. McClare, and my mother. Miss Spalding said the extra art class was simply a distraction. "Tricia is drawing instead of studying." Miss Chu said, "But she needs extra time to finish the test, all the test." When she said Dr. McClare said that I see things differently than most students, Miss Spalding scoffed, as if to say, "What could an art teacher know about how a child learns? I don't tell you how to teach a child to draw." It was as if I didn't think art teachers were real teachers, that maybe art wasn't even a real class. I chose that part of the book just because I like how everybody seemed to come together to make sure she was being heard, which is a huge deal for kids. They want to be heard, and it's an important task. My lesson plan, the objectives are: students will discuss their feelings of the characters. They will be able to use context clues to define vocab words, and they will relate to their own life and work in a group together. The summary of the task will be: they will view the PowerPoint, which will state the author, about the book, and key points. We will then read the book to the class. I will. And then we will do the group work, which is create a sentence using the vocab words that I've given to them. And then there will be an individual assignment and then a quiz. The materials needed are their notebook to help with their group work. We will have the PowerPoint, and then we'll have handouts, which is the quizzes, and the character traits worksheet. References were The Art of Miss Chu by Patricia Polacco, and Scholastic, which is what helped me find the information about Patricia Polacco. Take-home tasks. They will have each a copy of the book. They will take home and read it, and at the end of the night after they've read it, they will identify then 2 more. So there will be a total of 6 vocab words. I have about 20 students, so in a group of 5, so 4 groups, each group will have a word, and then there will be 2 words left at the end, and they will do that when they get home. So the vocabulary words that the students will identify are impressed, emotion, proverb, radiant, slender, and breezed. They will identify those words given to them based on how the book uses them. Once they have identified how the book has used them, they will then create a sentence that will identify who, what, when, where, and why. Group 1 will have the word impressed. Group 2 will have emotion. Group 3 will have proverb, and Group 4 will be radiant. The last 2 words students will take home, and they will identify the last 2 vocab words with a sentence of who, what, when, where, and why, slender, and breezed. Attach this right here. This is going to be the character trait character analyst. Students will pick a character from the book, any character they want. It could be Patricia. It could be Mr. Donovan, Miss Chu. Could even be the doctor. So they will pick a character, and then we will ask the question of what is something the character thought, and they will identify that character trait. What is something the character said? Identify that character trait. What is something the character felt? Identify that trait. And what is something that the character did? And then identify that trait. I then have 2 quizzes made up. One quiz will just have questions and like a short answer. This quiz will be given to the students who don't need the extra help. So first question is, who is the story about? They have the option to answer the author, Patricia, both A and B, or neither A and B. Number 2, Patricia doubts her abilities in what? Math, art, speaking, or reading. And then the essay part, or not essay, but the writing portion is, did Miss Spalding allow Patricia extra time on her test? Why or why not? Explain your answer. And number 4, how did this book make you feel? What one thing can you take from this book to apply to your own life? Recall the conversation we had in class. So in the PowerPoint I have, after we read the book, we talk about the story and how we have applied it to our own life. Or not how we can apply it to our life. What can we take from the story? For the quiz, for the ones who need it read to, for the ones who need just a little, who can't really just explain things in depth, or need just assistance, they have 2 of the same questions. Who is the story about? And Patricia doubts her abilities in what? I also gave extra questions like, did Miss Spalding allow Patricia extra time on her tests? A simple yes or or no. How did this book make you feel? Because I want them to be able to tell me their feelings on the book. Happy, sad, mad, I don't know. And I asked, what is something we can apply to our life that we learned from this book? To never give up, or reading is not important. I just want them to be able to tell me their feelings and how they can apply it, but without having to explain it and write it down, because we know that kids with a disability are not going to do that with us. They're going to shut down. Number 6, I added an extra question just to give them that extra help. What does Miss Chu call Patricia? Because if you notice, one of the pages I read from it, she called her Teresa, which her name is Patricia. At the beginning of the book, she tries to tell her why, what her real name is, but it never happens, and she just goes with it. The options were Teresa, nothing, Amy, or Miss Pat. I believe that by creating the extra quiz for the students who need the extra help will allow them to be able to tell you if they are understanding what you are putting out there. The PowerPoint I did put together, it has the introduction, or what the book is, introduction about the author, a little small summary of the book. I have a slide that makes it stop where while I'm reading to the class, I put, while we're reading, think about similar situations you've been in. That way we can talk about it in the book talk. The book talk afterwards, we'll talk about, have we ever had to overcome obstacles like that? Have you ever met someone like Miss Spalding? How did it make you feel? Do you think what she did was okay? Another question was, what type of feelings does the book give you? Remember what Patricia did for Mr. Donovan at the end. At the end of the book, Patricia drew a picture of Mr. Donovan's father, which he had died. His father died. And what did you learn from the reading? Then I have on the slide, I have the group tasks. I have gather into the group, and below find your group number and define the word as it is used in the book. The word you will define is next to your group name. Group 1, impress. Group 2, emotion. Group 3, proverb. And Group 4, radiant. They'll define the word, create a sentence, and then they will present it to the class. And at the end, as a bonus, I have asked the kids to answer the question, who is the story about? Clearly the story is about Patricia Polacco as a child.